Tonight, we begin with breaking news. Friends star Matthew Perry has died. Law enforcement sources tell the LA Times the actor was found dead at his home in LA today, where it appears he drowned in a hot tub. According to the LA Times, no foul play is involved.
Perry, of course, most famous for his role as Chandler on the hit 90s sitcom, which ran for 10 seasons. He also starred, though, and guest starred in countless other TV shows, including Boys Will Be Boys and Growing Pains, Beverly Hills 90210. Matthew Perry was just 54 years old. Joining us now on the phone is Sam Rubin. And Sam, of course, you've interviewed Perry many times over the years. His death obviously is a shock to everybody tonight here in Hollywood.
Rick and Alina, this is extraordinarily sad news. I think the man that would be referred to as perhaps people's funniest friend or favorite friend, Chandler Bing, was an extraordinarily popular character, and Matthew Perry brought him to life in the most amazing way. And what's also amazing is during that portrayal, which lasted for nearly a decade, Matthew Perry, for about half that time, coped with extraordinary addictions. In fact, in his tell-all book, which was released less than a year ago and was incredibly revealing and painful, he talked about 2 or 3 seasons of the show that he doesn't even remember. And after Friends, of course, and a successful film career, a lot of television cameos, he really wrestled with addiction, more so perhaps than any star in recent memory. So much so, I remember attending a premiere of a miniseries that he was involved in depicting the Kennedy clan, and he was there with a sober minder by his side, somebody to make sure that he did not stray or fall prey to temptation. Alcohol was a problem for him, drugs as well. And it's this terrible contrast when there was that highly touted Friends reunion. He did appear with his 5 other cast members, but while all of them seemed to have aged well and been very happy in their current lives, Matthew Perry, you could just tell, and I think it's a colloquial phrase, but completely applicable, had been through it. So this is sad news and upsetting news, but how much he entertained people, Rick, and what a difficult struggle he had.
And you could really tell when you watched his most recent interviews that he was really struggling with himself. And, you know, we all wanted to believe that he turned that corner in reference to, you know, some of his substance abuse issues in the past. Sam, do we know anything about the circumstances leading up to his death? Maybe what he was doing in recent days? Was he alone? Any insight into that?
Not so much, Alina. I'm sure we'll get more of that in the next few hours or next few days. We do know that he had a new residence, that he moved into a new place recently, and that he was the type of person who moved with some degree of regularity for a long time. He had a spectacular residence in one of the condo complexes in Century City with one of these, you know, commanding views of the city. Then he developed this extraordinary affection, and talked about it, for pickleball. And he wanted to be in a circumstance where he could play and enjoy pickleball all the time. He said that was his newest obsession and addiction. And so apparently he just very recently moved into a new home in the Hollywood area, a home that, among other things, seemingly had an outdoor, likely pool and jacuzzi. And that, of course, is where the headlines take us today. It's very sad way. One thing about Matthew Perry is he wasn't a finger pointer. He didn't blame others for the troubles that he faced. And he talked about how this was something as a young man breaking into Hollywood, and then had sort of put it at bay. And then, of course, with the extraordinary success of Friends and all the temptations that success, economic and otherwise, bring, I think he just succumbed to them, certainly for a period of time. His book, which is very good, and Friends fans and Matthew Perry fans, I don't know if they would take comfort in it, but they might bring a greater understanding, because it just details in the most extraordinary way the battles he faced.
Yeah.
And, you know, we talk about the typical arc of rehab and the like. He literally went to rehab a countless number of times. It's been a difficult road for Matthew Perry, for sure.
Yeah, Sam, I know, and we've seen the cover of the book on the screen here. We know he had the reunion. Are you aware of any other projects that he had that were coming forward right now that he now will not be able to take part in?
Rick, that's a very good question. And often, if you look at someone's IMDb page, there are things in development and the like. Obviously, the actors have been out on strike for several months, so there would be nothing currently in the works. He also, because of Friends, was completely economically independent. One of these people who truly would never have to work another day in his life. And often when people have these addiction battles, they lose all their resources. He didn't. At least he was careful with that. So as to other work from him, there's none that I'm aware of. But, you know, he was a creative person, a smart person, and had this extraordinary affection from a fan community. So it's a big, big loss, and I think people are taking in a sort of, you know, shocked way.
You know, as someone who grew up with Friends, I'm a big fan of Matthew Perry, not only on TV, but also he was a movie star. When you think about Fools Rush In and also The Whole Nine Yards, he really captivated an audience. Are we seeing any statements, or how is Hollywood reacting to this? Are you hearing anything, Sam?
You know what, Alina, I think this is the circumstance where people are taking in this news.
Sure.
First, because it's so startling, hey, is this really true? I think we're all coming to the sad realization, yes, it is really true. My expectation is you'll hear from people, probably not for a few hours, and if not till tomorrow, that people need to take this in and then come up with their thoughts. You mentioned The Whole Nine Yards, and an amusing story there. He and Bruce Willis had a bet about the box office outcome, and Matthew Perry won that bet, which facilitated Bruce Willis doing a guest arc on Friends at Matthew Perry's invitation, and as a result of that bet. So, you know, I think colleagues spoke well of him. When he was well, he was well liked, and obviously enormously talented. It was just these periods of not being well, and I think, in large part, that's what likely claimed him today.
All right, Sam. A lot of people in shock tonight. Matthew Perry dead at the age of 54.